Hi, I'm Mike Compton. Welcome to this video tutorial presented by Z-Man Games for their new game, Trollhalla. Trollhalla plays 2 to 4 players, ages 8 and up, and plays anywhere from 45 to 75 minutes. It is a thematic follow-up to another game also published by Z-Man Games and also designed by Alf Seegert called Bridge Troll. In Bridge Troll, each of the players were hideous bridge trolls trying to make their bridge operation better. In Trollhalla, however, the trolls have decided that they want to expand their ambitions and they've decided to go marauder the countryside and bring home the loot. So, let's take a look at how it plays.
First, punch out all the pieces. Then take the stickers that come with the game and affix them to the die. Put the board in the middle of the table. Give each player their own player board, called their private boat, and their troll tokens in their color. On the side of the board, set up the 3 decks of cards. Take all the chief troll tokens and put them on the windrows on the board. On the left-hand side of the board, you're going to notice a large ship and 5 smaller boats underneath it. This large ship is referred to as the Chief Troll's ship. For a 3-player game, take one of the Chief Troll tokens and cover up the bottom boat for the entire game. For a 2-player game, cover up the bottom 2 boats for the entire game. In the upper right-hand corner of the board is a +10 symbol and a +5 symbol. If it's a 2-player game, use one of the Chief Troll tokens to cover up the +5 symbol for the entire game. There are 3 troll ships in 3 colors. These will go on 3 of the island spaces. To set them up initially, do not place any of them on the middle island, and do not place any ships so that they are on adjacent islands. Later on during the game, they can be on adjacent islands, but not during the initial setup. Not every plunder tile will be used depending on the number of players in the game. For a 2-player game, set aside 2 of each type. Put these set-aside tiles back in the box and put the rest in your trusty plunder bag. On the board, there will be 4 islands that do not have ships on them. These 4 islands will need to be populated by drawing tiles randomly from the bag and placing them on the marked empty spaces, like so. There is a stack of discs with weather symbols on them. These are used for a specific game variant we will discuss near the end of this video. Do not place any score markers on the score track, as the score track isn't used to tally scores until the end of the game. In Trollhalla, players will take turns placing trolls on the board, either on the 3 troll ships or on weather spaces. Trolls placed on a ship will claim plunder tiles from a nearby island when that ship sets sail. Placing trolls on weather spaces grants players weather cards of the corresponding symbols and helps provide navigation for where the ships will set sail. As a player gains plunder tiles, he puts them on his own private boat. Whoever uses his trolls most effectively to fill his private boat up with the most valuable collection of plunder wins the game. The game comes with 4 handy reference cards that summarize what we are about to cover. On a player's turn, they can do 3 things: place trolls, play weather cards, and conclude the turn by rolling the die. Let's look at each of these in detail. First, placing trolls. This is required. A player must do this on their turn, and a player must play 2 trolls. If you happen to run out of troll tokens for whatever reason, take a troll token from somewhere else on the board to fulfill this part of your turn. Also, each troll token is double-sided, with one side showing the troll and the other side showing that troll with a spyglass. These images are there to reinforce the theme of putting them on ships or on weather spaces if you wish, but it doesn't actually matter which side is face up when playing them. When placing trolls on ships, a troll must be placed on the space closest to the dragon head or prow of the ship. I say this instead of the leftmost spot because the ships can actually get flipped over during the course of the game. There are only 4 spots on each ship, so if a ship fills up, no more trolls can be placed on it until it empties. When placing trolls on weather spaces, however, there is no limit to the number of trolls that can go on a weather space. An important rule when placing trolls is that no 2 trolls of the same color can touch each other. This applies to both the ships and the weather spaces. For example, in this scenario, blue has a troll on this ship. the next space could not be occupied by a blue troll because that would mean two blue trolls would be touching each other. So, a troll of some other color would have to go on this ship first before blue could play another troll on this ship. In this example, blue has placed a troll on this weather space. Another troll of a different color would have to go on this weather space first before another blue troll could be played on this space. Some helpful suggestions here about placing trolls on weather spaces. Make sure you place them such that the weather icon is still somewhat visible. This is so players who place future trolls on these spots can easily tell which type of weather card they earn for placing a troll on that space. Also, place the trolls slightly offset from each other so players can see all of the different colored trolls on any particular weather spot. When it comes to playing weather cards, know that playing weather cards is optional. A player doesn't have to do this on their turn. Also, there is no hand limit with respect to the number of weather cards a player may wish to collect. However, at the end of the game, a player loses 1 point for each weather card he has left over that went unplayed. In addition to being optional, a player may play weather cards before, during, or after placing trolls. To play weather cards, a player turns in a set of 2 matching cards. This grants the player the privilege corresponding to the type of cards he turned in. For a set of sun cards, the player gets to place 1 additional troll on the board for the turn. For a set of wind cards, the player gets to flip something, either a troll ship or a stack of trolls on a weather space. For a set of storm cards, the player gets to remove a stack of trolls from a weather space and return them to their owners. In addition to being completely optional, a player may actually play weather cards multiple times on a turn. However, the rule here is that 2 sets of the same type cannot be played on the same turn. A player concludes their turn by rolling the die, which will result in one of the troll ships being specified. If that ship isn't completely filled with trolls, then a chief troll token is added to that ship on the spot closest to the dragon head or prow. Unlike the troll tokens for the different players, the chief troll tokens can actually be next to each other. If the ship in question was completely full before the die was rolled, then that ship might set sail. However, there are some conditions. First, every island adjacent to that ship is looked at. Any islands that are already occupied by another troll ship are disregarded. Then, the stacks of trolls on the weather spaces that connect the island the ship is on to the other islands are considered. Whichever stack has the most trolls on it dictates the island that ship will sail to. When moving ships, follow dotted lines of the same color. In other words, do not change the direction of the ship to a different colored dotted line. Also, ships stay parallel to the top and bottom of the board when setting sail. In other words, they don't pivot when they move. If there isn't a clear majority of trolls on one of the weather spaces, the player who rolled the die takes a chief troll token and places it on one of the spaces that was involved in the tie. The space he places it on is up to him. Like the ships, chief troll tokens placed on weather spaces can be on top of other chief troll tokens. When a ship sets sail, remove the stack of troll tokens on the weather space the ship moves through. Place these tokens on the boats underneath the chief troll's ship. The order of placing them is bottom to top, meaning that the troll on the bottom of the stack goes on the bottom boat, and so on. If there happen to be more trolls than boat spaces under the chief troll's ship, leave the remaining trolls on a stack in their same order on the boat space directly underneath the chief troll's ship. Now it's time to collect plunder. Each troll ship and each island has 4 slots, as it were, on them. Some islands have 2 plunder tiles in a slot. Each troll on the boat will claim the plunder tile or tiles of the slot on the island that lines up with his slot on the troll ship. This occurs whether the player wants the tile in question or not, and this is also why flipping the troll ships around can have an impact on which players receive which plunder tiles. Claimed plunder tiles are immediately placed on the player's private boat. 2 special tiles to point out here. First, the billy goat tiles. When a billy goat tile goes on a player's private boat, the billy goat goes crazy and kicks off 1 tile. That tile is the top tile on the stack with the most tiles on it for that player's private boat. If there is a tie between 2 or more stacks for most tiles, the player may choose which tile to lose. However, a billy goat will never kick another billy goat off of a ship. The second kind of special tile is the grog tile. Grog tiles are wild tiles. Each time a player gets a grog tile, he may choose to assign it to any stack of tiles he wants. Any plunder tiles claimed by the Chief Troll tokens are placed on the Chief Troll's ship. These plunder tiles are eligible to be claimed once all the boats underneath the Chief Troll ship have filled up with Troll tokens. After all of the plunder tiles on an island have been claimed, the Chief Troll ship is checked to see if all the boat spaces are filled. If they are, then whoever has the most trolls in boats underneath the Chief Troll ship gets first pick of one of the tiles. Then, whoever has the second most trolls gets second pick, and so on. If there is a tie for most troll tokens, whoever has a token highest up, either on the topmost boat, or whoever is higher up on the top of the stack on the topmost boat, wins the tie. Unlike the claiming of plunder tiles on islands, a player is not obligated to take a plunder tile as part of the Chief Troll dividing up his plunder. However, billy goat tiles still have the same effect if claimed. Any unclaimed tiles go back in the plunder bag, and the player tokens are then returned to their owners. At this point, the island that was left vacant by the troll ship that set sail is filled with plunder tiles from the bag. If there aren't enough plunder tiles to refill an island, then final scoring occurs. Something to note is that it is legal for players to feel inside the plunder bag and count how many plunder tiles there are during the course of the game. At the end of the game, each type of plunder tile is worth a certain value. Billy goats are not worth any points individually, but the other tiles are worth however many symbols there are underneath their respective stacks. At the top of the board, each of the different types of tiles are represented with point values next to each. These are to help track the claiming of bonus points for being the first player to accumulate a majority of that particular type of plunder tile. In a 4-player game, the minimum number of tiles of a particular type needed to first claim the bonus is 3 tiles. So, for example, if a player collected 3 of the monk tiles, and he was the first to do so, he would place one of his troll tokens on the monk space at the top of the board. Claiming one of the majority spaces does not ensure, however, that that player will have that majority when the game ends. If another player ever surpasses that player during the game due to tiles lost via billy goats or tiles gained in other ways, then the new player with the majority takes the other player's troll token off of the space and replaces it with his own. In a 3 or 2-player game, the minimum number of tiles needed to claim a majority is 4 for any given type of tile. Though the billy goats do not grant points individually, having a majority of them grants a huge bonus because that player has essentially put together a petting zoo. The +10 bonus on the board is claimed by whoever of the players is the first player to have one of each of the 6 types of plunder tile on their private boat. That player will put one of their troll tokens on the space to indicate this. The second player to claim one of each of the types of tiles claims the +5 bonus. The +10 and +5 bonuses can't be lost or replaced, even if a player completely loses one or more of the 6 type of tiles after the fact. There are 2 possible variants that can be played. First, the stack of round weather discs can be placed on the board to change up which weather spots on the board are sun, wind, or storm spots. Second, the players may play with the Maelstrom variant, wherein a player may play one of each type of weather card on their turn to swap 2 stacks of trolls on 2 different weather spaces on the board, preserving the top to bottom order of each stack in the process. If this variant is used, a player may not play any additional weather cards on their turn after making use of the Maelstrom, as the Maelstrom uses each of the 3 types of cards.